Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's the blockchain backer bringing you the latest cryptocurrency news and analysis. Today, we have a green day in the cryptocurrency market, with the altcoin market up about 5% on average, and with Bitcoin back to 20,800. Now, if you caught yesterday's video, you might remember why I have these ovals drawn on here, over here on the altcoin market structure. Well, because for the last 6 months, we've been looking to try to find some type of bottoming structure emerging in here. And we talked about how tops can come in, how you have your parabolic rise, initial crash, attempt to set a new high, but failure and just pure capitulation, as we could see for here with Ethereum back in 2016. Parabolic, big fall, an attempt to set a new high, but failure, and then waddling followed by capitulation, and that we would be hanging out in a moment just like this, or if I color it the same, like this. But we also talked about this for Bitcoin from back in 2017. So the last one was 2016, this one's 2017. For Bitcoin, notice the same thing, right? Your parabolic rise, followed by your big crash, your attempt to set a new high, but failure, waddling, and then capitulation. Bitcoin gave us a V bottom out of there that time. However, in 2016, Ethereum gave us something more similar to what we're seeing happening right now in the market. But as we were discussing with Ethereum down here, looking to get our final breakout in here, are we going to get a breakthrough the 200-day moving average? And well, this morning, we're obviously seeing pop-ups happening everywhere. At first, I was kind of like, I saw XRP pop back up to 49.50 cents. I'm like, oh, sweet, okay. But then looking to the rest of the market, we're seeing this action everywhere. And when you take a look over here at Bitcoin, we've been talking about that Bitcoin's been stuck under its 100-day moving average. And well, we're trying to poke back through it here today too. So we see a lot of green price action in here. And it's weird to say we don't technically have a confirmed breakout happening just yet, but we are poking towards that, right? So get some more follow through in here. Hey, we have ourselves a breakout. And just that statement alone is a hindsight statement, right? That's one of those statements where you say, hey, if this happens, then that means we did this. Duh. But we're in an optimistic position to try to do that, right? This is an area where you can get rejected from, but this is also a breakout level right in here that's been holding us down for the last 9 days. And right now we're stabbing at it to try to break through it currently. And for the altcoin market, taking a stab at going for that 200-day moving average. Like we talked about yesterday, Doge has already gotten through there. Chainlink today has popped through. XRP had just kind of waddled its way sideways through it. And several of these have worked their way out over the course of the last several days. But as for today, you've got Litecoin breaking through and Algorand trying to break through. Obviously, to see the breakout happen here for the total altcoin market cap, that's probably going to be contributed a lot to Ethereum. So we're seeing several of these already doing it, but here we go. We get through here. It seems like we're at kind of this breakout moment happening in the market. But like I mentioned, it's kind of like we're not really there yet. We're super close, waiting for kind of a bigger move to show up, because right now we just sit right here for Bitcoin and we sit right here for the altcoin market, but we're incredibly close. But we know that when these moments do happen, if we get it, it'll just happen really fast. At least that's what we saw in something like this before. So a clear breakthrough. We're not there yet. Lots of green everywhere. Some of them saying hello and getting through. And I would love to get excited about this, but it's one of those things that I just feel like we're on the brink of it. We just haven't quite gotten it yet. So part of me still has that little bit of caution as we're still here right now. And as Bitcoin is still kind of battling it, right? So it's poked above it a little bit. But we have seen what's happened in previous days, that by the time the daily candle closes, it closes back down below it. So I'd want to see, a convincing break above here to get excited, because that 100-day moving average here on Bitcoin has been the problem child for it the whole time. Even when it came back here in August, not able to get through. Back here in September, not able. October, here we are in November, obviously. And then, of course, there's going to be levels higher than that. But this is our current battle that we have right now. So a convincing close today above $21,000 would be pretty optimistic, I would think. But of course, what has me excited is looking to this list, seeing the order of what all these are in, and seeing that it's all altcoins up here and Bitcoin down near the bottom. So what does that mean? It means that Bitcoin dominance is falling, but we're seeing the fall happen in positive price action. And that's what we've seen happen every time there was a major fall in the Bitcoin dominance, is that it was really good for the altcoin market. But technically speaking, like, the altcoin market could just stay still, but Bitcoin collapses on itself. That would still make the Bitcoin dominance go down if the altcoin market stood still while Bitcoin fell. But we're seeing what we've historically seen in these big falls of Bitcoin dominance, is that the altcoins are running with Bitcoin, but the altcoins are running better. So as you know, we've been watching this structure for 18 months at this point. We've been like in this final phase, right? So I've been kind of biting my fingernails a little bit, being like, this is really where it's supposed to happen. There's not much more to happen here beyond this. This is the moment where we're supposed to have this thing getting going. I'm getting pretty excited. It obviously hasn't set a new low, but we see what's happening in the market. Lots of green in the altcoins, green in Bitcoin, but more green in the altcoins. So exciting time, but we're kind of at that level of like, can we at least get through the 200-day moving average for the altcoin market? Also, it's trying to see Bitcoin get through that 100 day. And that's kind of what I'm watching for the next couple of days. Taking a look over here at the XRP price chart, we've obviously got a nice move here for XRP, hitting as high as 50 cents. Looking at just the range that it's been in within this entire time, we can see where we're at. So we're at about the middle point in here of the entire range that we've been in, as it just kind of gets tighter and tighter and tighter. At this point, right, we have a lower high followed by a higher low. So essentially we're coiling in here. There's not a breakout that has happened here yet for XRP. Looking at that 200-day moving average, like we talked about earlier, we were able to squeak our way through here. Still, it's undetermined whether or not it's going to come back down and close out this gap currently, or if we're going to have to worry about that at another time. One of the things I've been looking at this morning has been the XRP versus Bitcoin price chart. And we could see that still we're up here just battling against this 200-week moving average. This was our support back in 2018. Our breakdown in 2019, we've been underneath it ever since May and June of 2019. So if you want some napkin math on that, 3.5 years. Right now, we're still just kind of hovering underneath this thing. And I would think for there to be like a big move or a big breakout, this would probably be a thing. And so what we know right now is it's just kind of too hard, at least for me, it's too hard to say we're doing some big, huge move right now, until like one of these gets decided, and we're still underneath it. We've been under for 3.5 years. But if we go like take out the high, and here I'll add the USD price chart down here. If we go take out the high that was set back over here at 55, 56 cents, and we close a week above that, I think that would probably be something to get pretty excited about. Of course, I would still in the back of my mind be worrying about this price level down in here, but to see more follow through for more price action even higher, this does seem to be that, getting out of the range is probably the most important thing. And currently right now, we're just not. We're right there in the middle. So what is it saying? It's like we actually need more than this. It's not like a breakout happening, which is like the same thing we're seeing over there in the altcoin market cap, right? It's right underneath the 200-day moving average. It's like what we're seeing over there with Bitcoin. It's like right at the 100-day moving average. Lots of green action, but it feels like we actually need like one more like convincing, really big push in the whole market to say that something significant has actually happened here. And I think we're still just kind of waiting for that. But it's the thing that I'll be watching for the next several days. But like we've been talking about with the Bitcoin dominance and where it's located at right now, if there's a time for it to happen, it's right now. So things are all lining up really positively. We're just kind of waiting for that last thing to happen. Breakout of XRP from its 200-week moving average on the XRP versus Bitcoin price chart. Breakout above the 200-day moving average for the altcoin market. And I would think those events occurring would start getting the actual dominance to then go into a real breakdown. And then the excitement would really get going. And all things look good. All things look great. It's not just one thing we're looking at here and saying, hey, this is it. We have a lot of things lining up for us. It's optimistic, but we still need more to be like, oh boy, here we go. Because right now we're just kind of butting our head through things and kind of like poking our head through them. But we haven't quite gotten to that moment of where we've just like really cracked through it. So hopefully in the coming days, that's stuff that we do see. And like we're talking about with XRP in here, still, it just sits in the middle of the range. So of course, my cautions are still thinking to me, do we have to close this really quick? And then can we go and do something crazy? But like we talked about in yesterday's video, still, this whole thing that's happening in here, by it being able to hold this low, like this was a pretty good structure right in here for a breakdown to actually end up happening. And I'm pretty surprised to see a nice little pop happening in here. But like we talked about in yesterday's video, is that we've spent a lot of time comparing this, and how we were able to locate the bottom, at least until this point for XRP, was that this was a completely completed corrective structure with 5 ways down to the base, bouncing off. We showed how it behaved just like Bitcoin did back in 2018, right? And then we hold the support for a long time to finally capitulate through it. That's what we did over here for XRP till we finally capitulated through it. Went through long accumulation, broke up, and then at this point, right, what's it doing? Unlike Bitcoin in here, which was setting higher highs along with its higher lows, XRP at least was able to set higher highs. The concern that I keep talking about in here is whether or not, if we're going to maintain this structure and we're going to act like this in here, how long is this going to go on for? And are we going to have something more along the lines of like this, where it takes a long time to happen in here? Which is why, price action moving up right now seems really exciting, but, does it mean we have a long ways to go in here? However, if we look at the corrective structures like we have back in here, if we can go ahead and get ourselves closed out on that Wyckoff accumulation back down in here, this typically isn't the kind of structure that has to eventually wipe itself back down, but the kind that just kind of works its way up. And still, to this day, I don't see an answer in there just yet. But what we do see is that, it obviously hasn't come down and hit it. It's maintained the higher lows until this point. That's still incredibly similar to what was happening back in here, as we were maintaining those higher lows, holding underneath that breakdown level, which is where we've been right in here, until it finally was able to crack through. But this crack through was just a big retracement of the whole thing. So that would be a concern at that point if we did get it. Still, we're just waiting to see which one do we get. But hey, who doesn't like a 10% candle in one day? And well, with just that much time, even Bitcoin over here, giving us a little bit more, now butting against 21,000, really trying to get through that 100-day. So we'll see what happens in here as the market is still moving up. This is pretty exciting. We're kind of getting right to that moment as the altcoin market is looking like it's going to go take a stab at that 200-day moving average today. So crazy. I'll be watching that all day. Of course, I'll be on Twitter. I'll be active all weekend. As you guys know, we did the Blockchain Backer digital art collection, the 702 collection over here. The release happened 2 days ago. The traffic was so high that on XRP was receiving record-breaking traffic. And eventually, they had to take the mint page offline because it was overwhelming. Apparently, at some points, with over 500 attempts to mint in a minute. And like many of you, I know you're over there hitting F5, hitting refresh, trying to see when it's going to come back. I'm doing the same thing. I'm in communications with them. It's coming back today. I guess there were still some hiccups yesterday in regards to everything, but I've been in contact with them. It is coming back today. And so it was so busy, it was so chaotic that like 95 to 99% of transactions and people trying to buy weren't going through. So they've corrected a bunch of issues going on in there. They're in the final test for BC Backer. And whenever I find out when they are going to go live and the mint buttons will be turned on, I will do my best to give an advance warning or at least broadcast it out there when it does happen. So of course, I'll be watching this like a hawk. I'll be watching these charts like a hawk. And I will be on Twitter pretty much 24/7. And I will update YouTube and I will update Twitter when this is going to be coming back online. So busy weekend ahead. Fortunately, it's one of those weekends my family already knows I'm going to be really involved in Blockchain Backer, so I'll be watching charts a whole lot. A lot of times I really like to take the weekends off, but I've been really active over the last few weekends, and this weekend will be the same. So I will be here. You can follow me over here on Twitter at BC Backer. It's kind of cool. We have kind of two things happening at the same time. You got the BC Backer NFT collection being released, and then you have this action on the price charts getting ready to break out. So I'll be watching both those things like a hawk all weekend, and I'll be active over here on Twitter. So, all right, guys, I'll talk to you soon. I want to thank you so much for watching. If you could, please like this video and give it a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe and hit the notification bell so you could be notified of when I create new content and when I go live. As always, this is not investment advice, and I am not a financial advisor. But if you ever need a pick-me-up or a little bit of reassurance, just remember that the blockchain backers got your back. Have a good one.